Hey, entrepreneurs, let's talk about the value of working in short sprints. But first, let me contrast this in your mind for you by asking you to imagine a scenario where I could come into your work setting and put some sort of limit on your ability to work for more than 2 hours. So I said, whatever you plan to get done today, you can only have 2 hours for it. Immediately, what's going to happen? You're going to start thinking, well, then what do I need to prioritize? What do I need to make sure I get done first if I only have 2 hours? That's what we want. That's one of the things that working in sprints do for you. Instead of seeing your day as just this long marathon of a never-ending to-do list, which tends to push us towards procrastination because part of your mind wants to conserve energy, right? That's a natural human instinct. And so what you're going to do is you're going to do the dopamine spiking, short-term things that don't really push you towards your goals, because you have this sense of, well, the day's long and I'll get to it eventually. And so it's interesting that what we see in research for office workers is that there's a spike in productivity in the half hour right before lunch and during the half hour right before the end of the workday. And if you ask yourself, why is that? There's a couple of reasons. One is Parkinson's law, right? That work expands to fill the time for its completion. So people get on it and they really focus. Part of it, though, is that it turns off the psychological brakes that we subconsciously accidentally put on ourselves on the speed at which we exert energy to get things done when you have a break coming. And so when you have this perception of a never-ending to-do list, like most entrepreneurs do, where you have long days, which you can extend if you need to, and you could potentially work through the week, through the weekend, that tendency causes you to do less of the most important things and to work slower. So here's your challenge this week. It's a simple one, but it can have a very powerful and profound impact on how much you get done. Because really what we're looking for is that ratio of how much you get done per hour worked, which is more important than just a number of how many hours that you worked, right? In fact, it's the outcome that matters, and you'll get a better outcome if we shrink down the number of hours that you work. Similar to the person that I ran track with, who was a gifted athlete, who would go to state every year and be in the top one or two. I was running around the track with him in high school, and he said, it was me. I said, all right, we're about halfway there. And he looked at me and he said, please don't say that. And I was like, why? We are halfway done with our laps. And he said, because I'm only ever looking at that next finish line right up there. And he pointed to the nearest 100-yard mark. And so as we go around the 100-meter, each 100 meters is what he's focused on, because it gives his brain something that allows him to push himself faster. And I thought, that's interesting. I could learn something from that. So here's the challenge for you. As you consider your work week, as you consider the months that you put in without breaks, as you consider how you structure each workday itself, how could you incorporate this concept of short sprints to unlock speed and focus so that you have guilt-free breaks after intense focus? And you make yourself stop and you say, that's it until I get to the next work session. How could you use that? One of my clients recently told me about this year-long calendar that he uses in order to schedule in breaks and see further ahead things that are coming up that he wants to make sure he's done with a big project well before he takes certain trips for networking events or time off. And it has that same effect, right? If you see a break is coming, it allows you to work faster and make sure you prioritize things. So use the psychology of sprints to your advantage this week by just stopping right after this video for just a minute and just asking yourself, what small shift could I make to use sprints in the way I approach my work? Talk to you again soon.